Thanks, Dave. It's a tough day today. I would prefer that we were not here having this conversation today, but we are. But sometimes through difficulty arises great opportunity. And this is not only a great opportunity for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I think the right opportunity for both Brendan and for our organization. It's no secret to those that have been around this organization the last year, we're big on character. I spent a lot of time talking about culture and character. I'm very proud of the job that Masai and his team have done with what's happened with the Raptors and obviously with TFC. Although it's a work in progress, it's a different soccer club today than one last year. And I think a lot of that is the commitment we made to create the right environment, to hire the right people, to create the right culture. I'm not sure the Leafs have it. This is something that these two gentlemen now are going to have to work on. But I definitely sense that we lack an identity. And right now we're a team that lacks a direction. And we want to change that. Last summer, when we added some term on to Dave's contract, Dave and I had this conversation. So for those of you that think this is an assessment or a knee-jerk to what just happened this year, you're wrong. It's not. This was something we discussed and agreed to last year. This was in the org chart last year. And to Dave's credit, he understood that I felt like this team and the magnitude of the Leafs and Leafs Nation was such that we could use some additional leadership, we could use some additional thinking, we could use some additional experience. In particular, he knows that I wanted to find somebody that became the culture, the heart and soul, and the character of this organization. I'm not a hockey guy, and I felt it important that the leader of the Maple Leafs on a day-to-day basis should be a hockey guy. So we knew this is something we wanted to do. The board had full approval and knowledge that this was something we wanted to do, but we all agreed we had to find the right person because this is someone that will take us, we hope, for the next 20 years. It was difficult as we went through the timing for Shanny in particular, because once we engaged in that conversation, we understood that we had to make a quick decision and he had to make a quick decision. There was a perceived conflict of interest based on his responsibilities with the NHL, and we wanted to make sure that we got in and out as quickly as possible to make sure that we didn't put anybody in a bad place. I want to in particular thank Gary Bettman. He not good timing, and I'm the first to admit it. Both Larry Tannenbaum and I had conversations with Gary. We didn't mean to interrupt the flow of that division and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, but he understood this was a moment in time for us that was the end of the year, and it was critical to find the right person to ultimately lead the charge and be involved with Dave on the decisions that need to be made for this team. And again, I apologize to Gary and his team for disrupting the player safety and the hockey operations side, and I compliment Gary on being supportive, but he wanted it swift so that we got out of the middle of a conflict, and we made it quick. Shanny and I started talking about a week ago. We visited in person over that period of time and talked a lot about the opportunity here, the potential here, and he knows as well as I do, as well as Dave does, the potential in Toronto, if we get it right, is unbelievable, but we have a lot of work to do. We spent a lot of time talking about his relationship with Dave, and I'm extremely comfortable. You guys spin it any way you want, try to create chaos if you want. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we have two gentlemen that have been involved in this sport for a long time. They've known each other for a long time. They will work well together. And if we have disagreements, the disagreements will be resolved very quickly within the organization. This isn't going to tear the organization apart. This is going to make the organization a better place. So why Shanny? I look at his track record. I look at his accountability in his career. To me, the most outstanding statistic, if you look at his career, is not the 3 Stanley Cup rings, but in 21 years, he made the playoffs 18 times. And the majority of those 18 times, he wore the C or the A on his sweater. He knows about leadership. He came from some of the great culture organizations in the NHL, in particular, learning under Ken and the Detroit Red Wings and under Lou Lamoriello and New Jersey Devils. He was like a sponge, and he took it all in. And then he spent 5 years in the NHL devoting himself to trying to make the game better for the players, for the fans, and for the league as a whole. And I think he did an outstanding job in a thankless position. He knows the GMs. He knows the game. He's probably watched more games than anybody in this room. He is a guy that is not just a student of the game and a fan of the game, but he's an architect of the game, and that's what we needed here. I like his passion. I like his work ethic. I like his analytical skills. I like how he doesn't knee-jerk, and I like in particular that as a young man that grew up in Toronto, following the Maple Leafs, cheering for the Maple Leafs, he wants to come home and do something very special for this city. He also doesn't understand the hard work we have before us. We have hard work to do. The fact that we're sitting here one day removed from the season ending is an indication of the hard work we have to do here. Finally, I'm excited about the fact he's made a long-term commitment here. He sees this as an opportunity to build a legacy, to build a tradition here. We're going to give him full authority. Everybody on the hockey side and everybody on the business side for the Toronto Maple Leafs reports into Brendan Shanahan. He's the boss. I'll support him 100% and do anything I can. The board will support him 100% and do anything they can to give us the success that we asked for here. And I'm absolutely convinced that by adding him to this team and by putting him together with Dave Nonis, we have as good a management team and as good a brain trust as you could have now to get this right, to make sure that we don't have further conversations about culture, accountability, or discipline. So without further ado, please let me welcome the new president of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Brendan Shanahan.